for example 3, our line segment we're still looking at a line segment, so we're looking at a piece of a line or a length of a line that has a start and an end. And this one feels tricky because there's no 0 to help us out to let us know that it's lying right on the X or Y axis. But they both, what these pairs have in common is that they both have an X coordinate of -3. That means they're both going to be -3 spaces to the left. But they're different number of spaces up or down. So that tells us that if oops, let me switch tools. Are we on this tool? All right. If our origin is here at 0, 0, and we've got the Y line that climbs and the X line that goes across, that means that both spaces start, they go 3 spaces to the left, and one of them is going 3 up, and the other one is going 3 spaces to the left and 5 down. So they're going to be on opposite sides of, this time opposite sides of the x-axis. So we would, I'm just going to label these that this is 3 up. It's actually -3, 3. And this is 5 down, so it's -5 down. And also -3 up, or 3 down. Let's fix that, 3 and 5. So we need to know how far it is. Think of it like a vertical number line like we've done in the past. Only in the past we would have, this would maybe measure temperature or sea level, distance from sea level, and elevation. So we want to know how many units is it from -5 to 0, and then from 0 to 3. So that kind of explains this question. So when we find the length, you can either draw a number line, you could even make it horizontal, but that wouldn't be accurate. And you could just count the number of jumps or units that there would be from -5 to 0 and from 0 to 3. Or in this case, we need to find the distance of that line segment would be starting at the absolute value of -5, which is 5. And it would go to, we could say the absolute value of 3. It's still going to be 3, but we just need to know how far it is from 0 to 3. So this time we're combining them. So we need to know how far is it from 5 all the way to 0, and then from 3 all the way to 0. And so we're adding them, and that would give this line segment a distance of 8. And we want to make sure we add what we're measuring. We don't know, so we're going to say it's 8 units. Down here on the exercise, this is something students can do on their own. You'll notice that each pair of ordered pairs has something in common. So here they both are at -3 spaces to the left. So they're 3 spaces to the left of 0, so the -3. This time the commonality is they're both -2 spaces up or down, so they're going to be down. So you can draw a, or use graph paper or draw a graph if you want, if that helps you. Or use the absolute value way up here. It does help to draw the number line so you can see if you're crossing over 0 or not, because if you're going to cross 0, then you need to know how far it is from one space to 0, and then from 0 to the next space. So in this one, we would be combining them because we need to know how far it is from 2 to 0, and then 0 to -8. So this one, we're going to be adding them together. So we do need the absolute values, or you can draw the line and just count the number of jumps. But in this one, the y coordinates are both on the positive side of 0, so they're both up. So we just need to know how far it is from the 4th space to the 9th space. So we're only counting from 4 to 9. So when you count 4, or you put 4 in your head and go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you only get 5 jumps or counts. So this time we would be subtracting. So I highly recommend drawing out the number line so that you get an idea of where 0 is, to see when you are crossing that, when you are crossing the axis, the x or the y axis, then we would be adding them. So I'll do that real quick for this one. So we're at 2, so 0 would be here. Our origin is here, but we are negative 2 spaces over. So we're actually starting here. This is negative 2. Just kidding. Sorry. I'm looking at this one. So if this is our origin, we're changing how far across we are, but we're actually negative 2 spaces down. So we're starting here. Both of them are going to be somewhere on this line. So this is the 0, 0 line, and here's negative 1, down, negative 2, down. And one of them is going to be 8 spaces this way. I might need to go in a minute. And the other one is going to need to be 2 spaces this way. So you need to know how many jumps it is from 8 to 0 and then 0 to 2. For this one, here's our regular plus, here's our origin, 0, 0. And we're going to start off at 3 across on the negative side. And one of them, I don't really have space for this. I'll make it really small. One of them is going to be 4 units up, and the other one is going to be 9 units up. So we only need to know the distance from here to here. So that's why we're not counting this space. That's why we subtract that 4 out. If you have any questions, you can email me, ask your parents for help, check Khan Academy, and I will email shortly with the next lesson.